If you were to become 5 again while maintaining everything you already know, what would you do? Probably start a candy pyramid scheme in elementary school and build it up through middle and high school. Throughout the years we will change the products to fit the age group and eventually I'd be the head of my very own drug cartel. Try to correct my parents all the time in the most smart aleck way imaginable, whilst doing something like sticking Lego up my ass or throwing my dinner on the floor or whatever the frick a normal 5-year-old does. No daddy, you're not jealous of your friend's nicer car. You're envious that your friend has a nicer car. Jealousy implies fear of being replaced by someone else's crayon. My mom would tell me to go to kindergarten, and I'd begin to protest, but then I'd realize I get nap time, so I'd go to kindergarten. Wise choice. Probably creep out everyone around me even more than I already did at 5. A 5-year-old with all the knowledge of a 28-year-old is generally not going to go over well socially. I was thinking along these lines as well. I'm 50. I would show my teacher that I am better at math than her with complex calculus problems. Who's dumb nummies? Specimen. I'd take this one step further. Show her that you're a genius and then when she freaks out and goes to tell the principal what a prodigy she's found he comes and asks for a demonstration. Then act like an oblivious 5-year-old. Fuck that teacher for years by occasionally whispering physics concepts or political opinions to her when no one else is around. Wonder why I'm 5 again. I actually daydream about this all the time. I would be the wisest 5-year-old in the world, but to not freak people out, I would keep my thoughts to myself for the most part. When I grew up to be a teenager, I'd ace high school and avoid making poor decisions. I would probably be really bored though, hanging out with my own age group and having an adult's brain. You'd probably just have an entirely different circle of friends due to your maturity level. Dad, it's 1979. You should invest in Microsoft. First, what the heck is a Microsoft? Second, my paycheck got boned so hard by inflation we're eating scrambled eggs and fried rice for dinner again. Third, stop asking your teacher to retake your standardized test. I would pay way more attention in school, actually take it seriously, and take advantage of some pretty nice programs they had in high school. I would probably not work as much as I did when I didn't even need to in high school and immediately afterwards. Actually start saving like my mom told me I should. Push-ups. Then I'd be ready to kick that kid's butt that beat me up in 4th grade. I wouldn't have gotten that Scooby-Doo punching bag and robot Playmobil instead of a dumb chicken run board game. Goddammit. Buy Bitcoin when it was $0.0001 per coin. I'd mine it. It was super easy a few years ago. Any desktop computer could do it and generate thousands of bitcoins. Then sell up in November 2013. Never quit piano lessons. Jesus, I think you'll get bored after like the 5th back-to-back lesson. You should really take breaks. Grab some .com domains. I'd get a lot of baseball cards and Legos. I'd also study a lot harder and encourage my dad to buy Apple and Microsoft. Heck, I'd encourage him to find a guy called Steve Jobs and invest in his little garage group. I'd also pay more attention in school and study arts in high school. I'd also join the track team as soon as possible in junior high, if not in grade school. I'd encourage my parents to move to some very up and coming cities that didn't look as good when I was a kid. And I'd try to get my dad to go for walks with me, so he didn't end up so overweight and sick. Run into a girl's locker room while changing. I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just 5, but I knew you guys would be here. I know things. They'll probably find you cute and get HUGZ. I'd totally film my conversations with blatant innuendo. My neighbor's cat got caught in the rain. I wanted to dry it off but I love the smell of wet pee. Are all chicken sandwiches made from hens? What if there's a rooster somewhere and I've accidentally eaten dong meat? And adults everywhere would grow uncomfortable around you. Buy stock in a few new companies. Apple and Google. Go evil. You know 9/11 is going down. I am buying stock in Lockheed Martin and Halliburton. Easily ace every test, make everyone think I am a genius, but then become a retard when it gets to 11th grade stuff. Try to frick all my teachers. All of them. All. Same. I'll penetrate them with my 1-inch Punisher. In all honesty, I would probably use everything I know now to put even less effort into school, college, uni. I mean, I did well. I passed my exams, graduated, but I never really achieved my full potential. Thanks hindsight, and dad. But yeah, I wish I could say I'd be a better person, but I'd probably just slack off because I know this and don't need to work harder. 2 chicks at the same time. Freaking A, man. I would turn to my mom and say, "Mom, I know I was crying because I dreaded my My Little Buddy doll was Chucky yesterday, but I would really like you to take into consideration that Microsoft is growing each year and the profit margin for even a modest investment would pay off exponentially even within a standard 10-year investment period. There's also a small company called Google that, after reading their dissertation and 5-year plan and business model, also seems like a sound investment. If possible, I would like to go to a bank and start a money market IRA account to secure a financially sound retirement at the age of 45 instead of the standard 60. Also, I've come to the conclusion that your current husband is abusive and emotionally stunted and his kids are havoc. If you don't take my word for it, the black eye wasn't from Little League. It was because I broke the frying pan handle and he swung at me. He told me that if I told you, it would make you sick. If you don't divorce him soon, I will be forced to call CPS and have steps taken for me and my sister. Now if it's okay with you, I would like a 8-ounce New York steak, medium rare with a glass of vine fruit juice. Love you, mommy." Then casually skip away. Sigh. They grow up so quickly nowadays. Also, sorry to hear. I hope everything is better now. So much investing. Once I proved myself a child prodigy, it would be easy enough to convince my parents to give me a bit of cash to play the markets. I'd jump on dozens of tech companies just before they hit it big, buy thousands of Bitcoin for pennies a piece, bet on any big events I could recall accurately enough, etc. I could easily become a billionaire within a decade, at which point I'd go buy a private island and spend the rest of my life relaxing, read, H and blow. Cry because my altered existence means everyone who was born after I was 5 will be someone different. Little sister, cousins, friends, all gone. I would then feel weird about killing a 5-year-old version of myself in an alternate timeline. I probably wouldn't interfere too much with the state of affairs in the world, wouldn't try to tell anyone I was from the future. A lot of big things would probably still happen but by no means would be certain. What I would do is just pick up my life where it is right now and keep going forward. I'm at a similar stage where my dad was in school, so I'd just study his physics and engineering books in private. It'd be kinda cool to see my grandparents and great-grandparents, and all my family at younger ages. Then by the time I hit 23 again I'll get transported back to being 5 again. I'll think frick. This time around I will frick with everything. Try to make as many predictions as possible and cause as much chaos as I can with knowledge of a few years in advance. I hit 23 and find myself at 5 again, and again, and again. I try different things, but now I've lived as long as an old man. But I never get to see any progress into the future. I'm trapped here. I see people born after me as temporary and they are often very different. The people who were born before me become these constants who I know way too well, as I see them only at one time of their lives. And it happens again, and again, and again. Hundreds of years pass. I've learned everything I can from every perspective that I can. I've mastered every sport. I've gotten PhDs at a young age in every educational discipline. I lived a short life as a hermit. I frick with the timeline. I use my knowledge to gain power in different companies and work towards the goal of finding out what is happening to me. Thousands of years in my time pass. Now when I am born, the world jumps ahead. At first it was a few years. As I remember more and refine my techniques for re-establishing power and using thousands of people in each timeline to research what I see fit, the world begins to jump ahead by decades, then centuries every time I come aware at 5 years old. But I hit a wall. There is only so much you can remember, only so much you can do. I tried killing myself, but it sends me right back to being 5 years old. Sometimes it was a strategy if I made a mistake in the forward progress. Soon I reached the world to a level of technology that understands what is happening to me, and realized that I caused it to myself. I reset the world one more time. I don't want the world to just reflect myself and my goals. I am no one. I work in silence with the technologies I have learned to develop over the thousands of years I was alive, only to step in after I no longer know what is going to happen. If this had been a reply in our writing prompts, it would have hit the front. My mom died when I was 5.5, so I'd say we shouldn't go on that vacation when she drowned, and then I'd tell my dad to stop smoking and start getting chest x-rays so they catch his cancer earlier and maybe he'd make it. Christ, sorry. I would compose and write good songs which didn't exist when I was 5. You'd be the first player in the game and still get insulted in Russian. First, I'd color. I'm talking magenta tigers and a really, really cheerful sun. Then I'd proceed to enjoy my childhood again, instead of wasting it trying to grow up. I'd treat my siblings better, and help my older sibling to grow up more comfortable in her own skin. I'd treat my parents better, and I'd read all the books. At around 13-14 I'd start trying to do odd jobs and save as much money as possible. Then over the next 10 years invest in Google, Apple, and Bitcoin. And I do my best to find and meet my friends and significant others, since I don't want to lose them. Depending how far back you need to go, I'll tell you the secret stock is Cisco. It is the backbone of all tech companies since it makes the routers that builds the internet. In the 90s it had a 75,000% gain, and that is on stock. Imagine if you used options. SS and GOMAD every day. Your 5-year-old body could not handle a gallon of milk every day. Have many pictures taken with my dad before he dies. Invent dank memes before anyone else and be the ruler of them all. I'd pretend like I'm still at the level of a 5-year-old mentally. I would then wait for the perfect moments to freak people the frick out. Like, in the middle of the night, I'd walk into someone's bedroom, roll my eyes back and just start mechanically reciting theorems and their proof or some crap. Then I'd just go back to bed again and pretend to have been sleeping the entire time. Well, it would be the year 1975. I would have a lot of stuff to get used to again. Flares, 1970s ethics, and trying to stop myself getting bored due to no internet, no computers until I was at least 13, and no way to be allowed out on my own until I was at least 11. But at least I would be able to plan my future better. I would study harder, go to college and uni, and achieve my original aims, etc. Of course, investing in stock of upcoming companies etc. would be a great idea, and perhaps creating certain well-known books would make me a millionaire. I just hope that if I messed things up at all I'd be able to go back and start again. Save all of the manuals and boxes for all the toys and games I got as a kid, and actually take care of them. 1. Best grades in school. 2. Begin developing games as soon as possible. 3. Introduce the world to Minecraft. 4. Fail because the world isn't ready. 5. Lose friends who think I am crazy. 6. Terrify parents with capabilities and drive. 7. Turn to drugs and alcohol to cope with the loneliness of genius. 8. Drive car into oncoming traffic because drunk. 9. Enter rehab at parents' request. 10. Develop Facebook. 11. Fail because the world isn't ready. 12. Begin drinking. Again. 6. Turn 6 years old. PM you my tea. That'd be CP. No thank you, but you're welcome to PM me your current tea. Probably go on my PS1 and play Crash Bandicoot with my brothers. I like the way my life turned out. I'd rather not ruin it by trying to be some freaky child genius, only for when I turn 18 I'll realize that I'm no smarter than anyone else. I would, with extremely improved speech, tell my parents and teachers that I want to learn sign from day one, and alternate years between going to deaf school and oral school where I went to. I would not become friends with this one girl when I was going on 9 years old. I'll cherish the good memories we had together, but that's it. I'd do better in school, and since I'm so smart, I'd be placed into an even better school. I'd suggest stocks to my dad, who's very interested in investing, and invest the trust fund they got from fundraising to get a cochlear implant because I no longer need tutors and such. I'd enjoy camping twice as much as I did then. I miss all those camping trips we took multiple times per summer. I'd help advise my parents on financing and such. Don't move to that big house where I made friends with the said girl. I'd say save the money spent on mortgage by buying a cheaper house in another town where we eventually moved to later 4 years later. I'd keep taking Braille because I enjoyed my time with my Braille teachers and all the visually impaired camps we went to, especially sports camps. I'd also focus more on my eating vegetables and such and get fit enough so that I could potentially become an Olympian. I'd also use my child brain full of imagination to start writing stories and get them published. Man, so many more things I would have done. I like your post the best. Simple things, really personal. I would get bored really quick. I mean, I'm 5 with my 22-year-old brain. I couldn't drive. I couldn't go out and eat. I couldn't watch rated R movies. I mean, yeah, I have all this knowledge about the future, but I would have to wait so dang long to get there. In the meantime, I would probably just masturbate. Get rich and famous for being the smartest 5-year-old in the world. Yeah, people love those fancy pants teenagers who graduated early and went to college. How about the 5-year-old who gets his diploma? I am pretty confident I could pass my senior year again just off memory. Not let myself get bullied through middle school. Have the courage to do something with myself, like learn to fly. Not wasted 3 years in college not knowing what I wanted to do. There's quite a bit I'd have changed. I'd be the youngest person to ever flunk out of college. Convince my family that I'm psychic. Grab boobs of every hot girl and play it off as cute toddler behavior. Local. Fall into a crippling depression as I am no longer with my wife and my son no longer exists, and knowing there is no way to recreate the circumstances that led to me meeting my wife in the first place. You have been visited by the distinguished doggo of delicious delicacies. Comment tasty supper, hupper, and be blessed with delectable dishes for the next decade. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day, you magnificent people.